What John Basilone did with the machine gun shouldn't have been possible. But one night in October 1942, he did the impossible, one bullet at a time. Picture this. You're 25 years old, dug into a muddy ridge on Guadalcanal. You're covered in sweat, mosquitoes, and the smell of death is stuck in your nose. Your machine gun position guards the only pass to Henderson Field, the airstrip that could decide the entire Pacific War. Then you hear it, a sound that strikes your guts. Banzai! 3,000 Japanese soldiers of the elite Sendai division are charging directly at your 15-man position. Not hundreds, thousands, waves of frantic soldiers willing to die for Henderson Field. But to understand what happened that night, you need to know what drove John Basilone. He wasn't supposed to be a hero. Born in Buffalo to an Italian tailor, he was just one of 10 kids trying to make it in America. Dropped out of school at 15, worked as a caddy. Nothing about young Johnny suggested what he'd become. But Basilone had a feeling he couldn't shake. At 18, he joined the army, served in the Philippines. The boys called him Manila John because he loved the nightlife there. When his enlistment ended, he tried civilian life. Lasted exactly 1 day before re-enlisting. After 3 years, he got out again. Drove trucks in Maryland, but that feeling wouldn't die. In 1940, Basilone walked into a Marine Corps recruiting station. "I want to go back to the Philippines," he said. The recruiter smiled. "Son, the Marines will get you there faster than anyone." He was right. By October 1942, Basilone was on Guadalcanal. Not the Philippines, but close enough. He was now a machine gun section leader in the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. His commander, the legendary Louis Chesty Puller. October 24th started like any other day of the war. The Marines had been on Guadalcanal for 2 months, bleeding for every inch of jungle. Henderson Field was the prize. Whoever had it controlled the skies. The Japanese wanted it back. Desperately. As darkness fell, Basilone checked his guns, 2 30 caliber Brownings, each weighing 90 pounds with their tripods. These weren't rifles, they were devastating weapons that could fire 600 rounds per minute. In the right hands, they could turn a man into the Grim Reaper. Basilone had the right hands. At 21:30 hours, Japanese mortars started falling. Then came the frantic screams. The first wave of Japanese soldiers threw themselves onto the barbed wire, creating a bridge of the dead for their comrades. "Keep firing!" Basilone roared over the machine guns. The Brownings opened up like a fire hose. Japanese bodies piled up, 3 deep, then 4, but they kept coming like a zombie horde. Then it happened. One gun jammed. In the rain and mud of Guadalcanal, weapons failed constantly. As Basilone worked to clear it, Japanese soldiers broke through. He dropped the machine gun, pulled his .45 Colt, and started shooting at point-blank range. One Japanese soldier got so close, Basilone could see his eyes before putting a bullet between them. Gun cleared, Basilone was back spraying bullets, but ammunition was running low. Each belt held 250 rounds. At 600 rounds per minute, they were going through bullets like cotton candy in water. This is where Basilone's name became legend. Leaving his position meant death. The Japanese were everywhere, but without ammo, they were dead anyway. Basilone made a choice that should have killed him. He ran through enemy fire, through the darkness, through Japanese soldiers who had infiltrated the lines. 200 yards to the ammunition point. Basilone loaded himself with belts of ammo, 90 pounds worth, and ran back to his position. Bullets snapping past his head, mortars exploding around him. He made it, reloaded, kept firing. They needed more ammo, so Basilone did it again. Another gamble with death, another 90 pounds of ammunition. He made it, reloaded, kept firing. Basilone's hands were grilling on the red-hot barrel. The pain was excruciating, but he kept firing. When one gun went down, he grabbed it, all 90 pounds, and ran to a better position, firing from the hip like a marksman. He was everywhere, remembered Private Nash Phillips, fixing jams, moving guns, firing, screaming encouragement. He was like a man possessed. By the second night, only a handful of Marines were still standing. The Japanese attacks were relentless. The bridge of the dead was now a mountain of corpses. Basilone hadn't slept in 48 hours, hadn't eaten. His hands were cooked to perfection, but he kept firing. Then came the final assault, October 26th. pre-dawn. The Japanese commander threw everything he had left at Basilone's position. Hundreds of soldiers climbing over their own dead, screaming, shooting, throwing grenades. Basilone's gun was glowing red. He fired in short bursts now, picking targets, making every bullet count. Beside him, young Marines who'd never seen combat were crying, praying, fighting for their lives. "Just keep shooting, boys," Basilone yelled. "They can't get us all." As dawn broke on October 26th, silence fell over the battlefield. Basilone, exhausted beyond belief, looked out at the aftermath. Japanese bodies decorated the ground like abstract art. The official count said Basilone personally killed 38 Japanese soldiers. The real number was probably much higher. Of his 15-man section, only 3 remained standing. The Japanese regiment, 3,000 strong, lay stiff on the ground. Henderson Field was safe. When Chesty Puller found Basilone, the sergeant was sitting on the edge of his foxhole, head down, hands charred, uniform soaked in blood, most of it not his own. Puller would later write, "In all my years of combat, I never saw such a magnificent display of courage." The Medal of Honor citation would use words like extraordinary heroism and aggressive fighting spirit. But the men who were there had simpler words. Basilone saved us all. They brought him home a hero. Parades, newsreels, bond tours. The government raised millions off his story. Women threw themselves at him. Hollywood wanted to make movies. He could have had anything. A commission, a safe desk job, a lifetime of comfort. But at every parade, every event, he said the same thing. "This medal belongs to the boys still on Guadalcanal." When they offered him an officer's commission, he turned it down. "I ain't no officer, and I ain't no museum piece. I belong back with my outfit." The Marines tried to keep him stateside. He was too valuable as a symbol, but Basilone didn't care. In 1944, he married a female Marine, Lena Riggi, and immediately volunteered to return to combat. His wife begged him to stay. His family pleaded. The Marine Corps brass couldn't stop him. "I'm a Marine," he said. "Marines don't sit out the war." February 19, 1945, Iwo Jima, D-Day. Basilone hit Red Beach with the 27th Marines. The beach was a killing field. Machine guns, mortars, and artillery hit the beach with fire. Marines were dying left and right. He took charge, screaming for his men to follow. When a concrete blockhouse stopped their advance, Basilone climbed it, shoving grenades through the firing slits, and destroyed it single-handedly. He then spotted a Marine tank trapped in a minefield, taking heavy fire. Without waiting for orders, he ran into the minefield, guiding the tank to safety. He had been on Iwo Jima for less than 4 hours. Leading his men toward Airfield No. 1, a mortar round exploded. Shrapnel tore through him. He was dead before he hit the ground. John Basilone was 27 years old. They found his body with those of 4 other Marines he'd been leading. Even in death, he led from the front, refusing to let his brothers die alone. He could have went on tour telling his war stories, cashing in on his fame. Instead, he chose to die with his boots on, 5,000 miles from home. Why? Because that's what Marines do. That's what brothers do. You don't leave your family behind. Today, John Basilone is remembered as the only enlisted Marine in World War II to receive both the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross. Ships bear his name. Marines still run the Basilone Memorial March every year. But perhaps his greatest memorial is this: every Marine who's ever refused to leave a brother behind has the spirit of John Basilone with them. What he did with a machine gun shouldn't have been possible. But then again, he didn't know what possible meant. Semper Fi, Manila John, Semper Fi.